Hello, parents and boys and girls, and welcome to our curriculum night, the distance learning edition. And my name is Mr. Sistal, and I teach second grade in room 401. Before we get started, let me give you a little bit of information about myself. As you can see right below me, I have a picture of my family, and that was during our trip to Puerto Vallarta a few years ago. And I did grow up in San Diego, and my wife's name is Christine. My daughter's name is Ella. I also have a little York Iranian named Chelsea. And the next fact kind of goes along with this family picture because I do love to travel. I do love to eat. The only thing missing are my guitar and ukulele, which I normally bring whenever I travel. Just don't happen to have it there in that picture. I went to SDSU and I graduated in 1991, and I also received my Master's of Science in Education Technology in 2000. And believe it or not, this is my 25th year at Hilltop. I've taught sixth grade, kinder, and second grade. Fun fact, some of the parents in my class were in my sixth grade class. And so that just gives you an idea of how long I've actually been there and how closely tied I am to the Hilltop community. Hilltop is the only school I've ever worked at. I even did my student teaching there. Our daily schedule is as follows. We start at 8:30 and we go to 1:25. I do build in quite a few breaks. I really don't like the kids going more than 45 minutes to an hour without the opportunity to stretch their legs. As you can see here, 8:30 to 9 is SEL. That means social emotional learning. So right now we're dealing with a lot of the issues with distance learning. More specifically, frustration. So we're learning how to deal with frustration. We're also going to be talking about kindness and treating others, nicely, and things along those lines. ELA from 9 to 11:30 stands for English Language Arts, and as you can see here, this is where I do the bulk of my independent work. I do a whole class lesson, and then we break out into guided reading groups, and that's where our students are grouped homogeneously. And what that means is they are grouped with others who have the same strengths and the same challenges. And this way, I can really focus my teaching dealing with those specific strengths and challenges. I also run an ELL small group, and an ELL means English Language Learner. This way we can support those who are learning English as a second language. I also build an independent work, and that takes us to lunch, and lunch is normally, or every day, lunch is from 11:30 to 12:15, and then the rest of the day, 12:15 to 1:25, is devoted to math. As you can see here right below me, I did leave a note that science and social studies is incorporated into the language arts curriculum. And I'll be starting this schedule. I'm not talking about the time, but I'm talking about how I break up the day right after we finish with assessments, and I'm able to take a closer look at the data to make sure that all students are appropriately placed in such a way that I can best serve them. So right now, the current state of distance learning in our class is as follows. Students are still getting used to the technology, and as a result, the frustration level is a little high. Although I am bringing that down a little bit because we're dealing with frustration during our social emotional learning time, and also I'm giving the students the opportunity to kind of play with the technology, if you will. And so, we really want to make sure that as they're learning technology, it's in a really low stress environment. And I'm going to be talking about that more later when I discuss homework. But just know there is frustration there, but we are working through it, and we are taking as much time needed to get through it. And just like it says here, patience, please. Another issue we're having is some computer connectivity issues. I'm having them myself, which is the primary reason why I am teaching at school rather than from home. My internet connection is a little bit spotty, and as a result, I want to make sure that I'm in a school, where I know the connectivity is nice and strong, so I don't, I'm not accidentally dropped from class, because if I'm not there, there's actually nobody there teaching your children. I also know that childcare childcare issues are a little bit of a challenge. And so, those of you with childcare issues or challenges, I really appreciate how you either text me or you send me a Class Dojo message. Just give me a quick update. If you know your child is going to be late, I am there to support you. Simply let me know, and I won't even count your child absent. Okay, I'll just make a little note to myself, and this way, when your child shows up, I know it. The office knows it. In that they're they know that they may be a little late, but they also know that it's due to circumstances beyond our control. And my very last challenge when it comes to distance learning is trying to keep the students focused for a sustained period of time. Second grade is a little dicey, and it takes an awful lot to keep their focus, which is why I like to give the students frequent breaks and also break things up a little bit so I'm not the only one in front of them. Now, dealing with these distance learning challenges, what do I do? Well, the first thing I do is every morning we go over our distance learning expectations. Those are our proud expectations, and they cover things like being kind, making sure you are muted, you are seated in a place where you can work and where it's not too loud. The expectation is you try to complete all the work and that you're on time. So these are things that the students, we talk about every day. And as a matter of fact, we spend probably the first 10 minutes of the day going over those expectations. Another caveat when it comes to distance learning and its challenges is really treating technology as a school subject. I really can't delve into the curriculum as deeply as needed until the students are pretty fluent in using the computer. And so that's where we are right now. Yes, we are doing a lot of schoolwork, but we're also doing a lot of computer work. And, where students are learning how to access assignments. They're learning how to use the drawing and writing tools to work on digital documents. They're getting to and from our virtual classroom. So, there are just a myriad of things that we're dealing with on the technological side. Another one of my challenges, or how I'm meeting my challenges, is creating YouTube content. I don't know if I would call myself a YouTuber, but I really listen to the parents and students. And if I see that there's a need to create like a how-to video, I'll go ahead and do it. And I send out all my content in the form of links on Class Dojo. So all you have to do is when you check your messages is simply click the link and it'll take you to that content. And I understand that some of it may be repetitive or some of it you may already know, in which case that video may not be for you. But I'm hoping some of the content I do create is informative and does help you and your student tackle these technological issues. And as I mentioned earlier, I do give frequent breaks, which is which offsets us, the challenge of trying to keep their focus, really sustained through an hour or an hour and a half by making sure that we have those breaks. Kids are able to recharge their batteries a little bit, and in which case they're much better able to focus. So just know, folks, that normally, or in a normal school year, I teach all these skills, these computer skills in class. But we're not in a position to do that right now because I'm on my side of the computer and you and your student are on the other side of the computer. So it's really difficult for me to see exactly what is going on. It's hard for me to pinpoint the problems that you may have, you may be having. And so in this case, I do ask for your help. I'm asking you to help your child become more independent when it comes to technology. And that means giving them some extra time to log on or to get to the assignment section or to kind of just play with Teams so they can explore and better acquaint themselves with Microsoft Teams. Another thing that you can that will help you and your child is to watch those YouTube videos that I put out. Like I previously mentioned, I do listen to feedback, and so I do try to create content that will, that will help you. And just to let you know, I really try to keep those videos, the video length down to a minimum. I just released two yesterday, and both of which were under 3 minutes. I know these things can be boring, but I also know that the information contained within those videos, might be very helpful to you and to your child. And so, as you're watching those videos, feel free to play and pause. And if you're watching on a cell phone, that's even better because your student can have their computer open and you can kind of follow step by step, a walkthrough, if you will, dealing with any one of the issues I happen to have made a video of. Okay, and provide feedback. Give me feedback if there's anything you need help with as far as a video or computers. I'm certainly not the end all be all. I'm not like a tech guy per se, but if you're talking about how to use the technology at home, I might be able to help there. Or at least I can find that information, and if it warrants, I can make a video that'll not only help you, but help the entire class, because chances are, if you have a question, somebody will have that same question. What are my biggest challenges to distance education? Um, Dealing with technology or technological problems remotely is really difficult for me. Oftentimes, when it comes to trying to troubleshoot something, I need to be behind the computer and see exactly what's going on, and that's really hard to do when you have 23 other kids, in our virtual classroom. So oftentimes I'm not able to help when you're dealing with these tech issues. What I do suggest you do, and what I do normally is if something happens with my computer, I always start with restarting it. So rebooting or restarting your computer, there a fair amount of that time, once it starts up again, it works just fine, and I have no idea why. But restarting, if all else fails, restart your computer. And another one of my challenges is prioritizing those I help. If I know it's a quick fix, I can not necessarily stop what I'm doing in class, but just deal with it. So you might see me when I'm teaching. I might be talking to one child for 30 seconds. Then I might be going to another child for 30 seconds. I might be dealing with the parent. And one of the challenges is during a lesson is trying to troubleshoot these technology questions. But I mean, I think it's just one of those necessary evils, and this is in the hopes that as we progress through our distance learning, that kids and parents become more familiar with the technology. Now, if you do run into problems with your computer, I do have listed in orange our district computer helpline. Feel free to call them. These folks are specially trained to deal with these computer issues over the phone, because I know student and parent frustration can get pretty high when you're dealing with this computer issues. And don't feel like your child is falling behind. I understand that these things happen. All right, folks. So I am not here to push ahead and leave you in the dust. Once you have those issues corrected, we can go ahead and catch you up. Okay. And please understand, because I think sometimes parents think I can fix everything when it comes to computers. Just understand that that teachers aren't tech support. We are curriculum support. So if you have questions about how I'm servicing your child, or grouping, or curriculum, that's my area of expertise. It is not my area of expertise, unfortunately, to deal with the myriad of computer issues that you have. So really the best place to start is with the district computer line. You may feel free to ask me, if you'd like to dojo me, and if I know the answer, I'll provide it for you. And again, if it's something that I can help everybody with, perhaps I can make a really short YouTube video to assist those who might be having the same computer issues. What is my focus during this time of distance learning? Well, one of my primary foci, if you will, is familiarizing the students with the technology. It's really difficult for them to learn if they're constantly being burdened on how to get from this place to that place on Teams, or how to use the digital tools. And so really getting the students familiar with using the technology, especially with Teams. And what I'm trying to get the students, or the place I'm trying to get them to, is what's called fluency, where they can kind of bounce from one section to the other without any help, and they can do it quickly. That's what we're trying to get, okay? And I'm hoping that creating these help YouTube videos will assist them in getting there and assist you. Another focus of mine is to scaffold my instruction to make sure that curriculum is accessible to all. And all scaffolding means is, let's say you have a standard, okay, and a standard is something that the students are required to learn by the end of second grade. Well, I pick apart that standard. I start with the most basic and most fundamental piece of that standard, and from that I build upon it, and in the hopes that after some time, definitely by the end of the year, that your child will have mastered that particular standard. And so scaffolding is a really big thing, or is a really big part of not only what I do, but what every teacher does. Okay. Another focus is really setting the distance learning expectations. One of the difficulties of teaching virtually is I am not there with your child, and so really the only thing, the only view I have of them is them in front of their computers. And so by really taking a long, hard look at each one of those expectations, I'm hoping that the desired behavior will become an expectation. And perhaps my biggest focus is to build that strong home to school connection. I know I overburden you with Class Dojo announcements and video links and information. It's only because I want to make sure that you are aware of everything that's going on. Since we're not making that daily connection, seeing you and your child at the door as I welcome them into the classroom and just chatting, we're not afforded any of that. So it's amazing how much information we're actually missing out on since we're not able to just chat. And so, you will find that I do send home, or not send home, but I do send out a lot of Class Dojo announcements and messages, and I would appreciate it if you took the time to read those. I really try not to burden you with unimportant information, but there is a lot of really important things that are going out and that need to be shared. My homework policy. Well, during this challenging time, there is no homework. I would say that if you would like to assign your child homework, help them with the technology. Allow them to log on and show them the different parts of Teams. Watch those videos on your cell phone while your child is on his or her computer, and play with the technology. Now, when I say that there's no homework, that only means that there's not anything expected after the school day. But during the school day, we do plenty of work, and right now, I'm not too concerned with classwork because I know that students are still getting used to the technology. And as you can see, in my presentation, it does ask that parents check the assignment section in Teams. But until the students are really fluent with the technology, meaning that they can actually get the Teams and click on the assignment and work on the assignment, I'm not gonna worry about it too much, and I will totally accept homework done in their composition books on paper. And if you'd like to take a picture of it and just send it to me, via Class Dojo, that's more than acceptable. As we move forward and move towards fluency with the use of Teams, our expectations may change. But right now, it's about meeting the needs of your child and giving them the opportunity to work with that technology. And so, I'm not worried about homework right now. They've got plenty on their plates. Now, how am I meeting your child's needs? That's a question that I ask of my child's teacher. And, when we're teaching virtually, it does seem like meeting the needs of children can be more challenging, and I'm not going to disagree with that. Meeting their personal needs, their emotional needs is definitely more challenging, but meeting their academic needs, I'm still there, and I can still do that. And so I do that by, and I mentioned this previously, by scaffolding my instruction, which simply means breaking down the standards, doing a lot of small groups, specifically literacy stations, where the students are homogeneously grouped. And this way, I'm working with children who have, similar strengths and challenges, and I can really focus my lesson and my teaching to help address those. And we also have our computer-based curriculum, Smarty Ants, Epic Books, Achieve 3000, and iReady. And the great thing about those programs is they all have individualized programs. Your students, with the exception of Epic, your students will be or have taken an assessment. And what that assessment does, it actually calibrates their individual program to meet their needs. It knows your child's weaknesses, it knows your child's strengths, and it builds upon both of those to make your child a more well-rounded person. And so one of the things that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be building in that computer time during our day. It gets your child away from me for a little bit so they can focus on something else. And as I mentioned earlier, try focusing on somebody for 4 hours, and you too will see how difficult that is. And so really just trying to change things up, and that's one way that I can do that. A couple of things I need from you, parents. I need, if you haven't already, please pick up your students' materials. I have 2 math workbooks. I have a language arts workbook. I have some materials from our CART teachers. I have school supplies, and these are things that are really important. Most of you have picked them up. If you have not yet, I'll post a schedule. Although I don't know what our schedule is this week and going forward. As far as pickup, we've had pickup every day, but I am available from 1:30. School gets out at 1:25. I'm available from 1:30 to 2. So if you are available, any day, Monday through Friday between that time, just dojo me. Let me know what day you can come by between 1:30 and 2, and I will have your child's materials ready. All you have to do is, once you get to school, you can text me or Class Dojo me, and I'll run it out to your car. I'm not staying until, after 2 o'clock, however. I normally go home at that time. I really want to limit my exposure. And so during class time, I'm in the class 90% of the time. And, 2 o'clock, once that 2 o'clock comes, I go home and I finish my work at home. But I'm certainly more than willing to stay that extra time from 1:30 to 2 to help you get those materials to your child, okay? I also will need for you to help your students help themselves. And that means that they may have to struggle a little bit when it comes to not only academics, but on the computer. Give them hints. You can steer them the right way, but, allow them to kind of think themselves or think through a challenge or a difficulty. That's what real life is, and and school is part of real life. Provide a really good workspace at home. I understand that some of you have multiple children. I heard of a household that has 6 children who are distance learning, so I get it. But what I do ask, if at all possible, to provide your child a place that's pretty quiet, that is away from the television, so they can really focus on the instruction and focus on all the activities that we'll be doing. And lastly, parents, please, 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 when your child is on a quick break, or if it's recess or lunch, please remind them to use the restaurant during breaks. One of the challenges during a lesson is, during a lesson, a child will unmute themselves and ask if they can go to the bathroom. And I know for most people, they don't think it's a big deal. But for me, it actually is, because what it does, it kind of stops the flow of my lesson. And so everything comes to a screeching halt. And then while your child is in the restroom, they're missing the lesson or the academics being covered while they're gone. And so What I like to tell the kids is, if I can wait, you can wait. Okay, so just remind them to use the restroom at the at the correct time, which is during their breaks. I really want to thank you for watching my video. I'm sure you have some questions, and if you do have questions, really the best way to get a hold of me is through Class Dojo. So send me a message, and I'm normally pretty good at getting back to you within a few hours, unless it's sent at night, in which case I get back to you the next day. Or you can send me an email. I do check my email every day, a few times a day. Again, I want to thank you for watching this video. I am privileged to be your child's teacher, and I look forward to an exciting year. And I can't wait till we get back in person, and to be able to greet you and your child personally every day. So I'll leave you with that. Thanks again. Bye bye.